Shh. Today we're talking about smuggling movies.
Shush! What are you trying to get us busted?
No, I'm not trying to get us busted. You're going to get us busted.
Hey, Barbara.
Kevin.
Whoa! Hey, I'm Al.
And hey, I'm Peej.
And welcome back to Are You Still Watching? Wait, are you still watching right now? Are you really still watching at this point? The show where we tell you what we think about what's worth watching on Netflix and Hulu and all the rest.
And we got a great show today. We're going to review the movie War Dogs, directed by Todd Phillips. And Al, before we get into this week's episode, you know, Todd Phillips is one of my favorite directors. He directed the Hangover movies.
Yeah.
You saw those, right?
Yes.
I thought maybe it'd be fun if we just gave our top 3 favorite Hangover movies. I'll go first.
Okay.
My number 1 is Hangover 1. My number 2 is Hangover 2. And my number 3 is Hangover 3. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to shake things up a bit. My number 1 is going to be The Hangover number 1.
Okay.
My number 2 is going to be The Hangover number 2.
Oh, okay.
And my number 3 is going to be The Hangover number 3.
Okay.
Have you even seen The Hangover number 3?
I have, yeah.
I haven't. I didn't. I was insulted by The Hangover 2.
Hangover 2. It's the exact same as Hangover 2, which was the exact same as Hangover 1.
Yeah, wasn't the whole joke of The Hangover 2 that like it's a joke on the audience?
Yeah.
Like it's just the same movie twice. I thought that
and
was
then they
kind
did
of
it
funny
again.
until the movie sucked. And then I just was mad.
Yeah.
I felt like I got ripped off at that movie. Anyway, this week's episode, we're going to be talking about smuggling movies. That's right, we're talking about badass lawbreakers who make their money in any way possible. Sneaky criminals caught in stressful situations. Cool dudes blowing coke and shooting people. At least that's what I think of when I think of smuggling movies. Peej, when you think about a smuggling movie, what do you want to see in there?
That's exactly it. I want to see drugs. I want to see money. I want to see a ton of money. I want to see chases from law enforcement, single engine planes, landing strips and on the dirt in Bolivia. I want everything.
Yeah. Gotta have some like glamorous shots like in Las Vegas or whatever where these people are blowing their money. We gotta have the rewards of the smuggling.
I want to see the mansion. I want to see what it all boiled down to.
But what I need like the most, if a smuggling movie is gonna be good, I need those scenes where they're just barely sneaking by and almost getting caught.
You want the anxiety up.
When the music's low and it's building up. Those are the best scenes in smuggling movies. Like that's what I show up for, man. I actually show up to smuggling movies to have a good time, but I think if they can be intense in the middle of it, that's what makes me have the most fun of all.
I agree. So we'll see if War Dogs fits into those categories. I think it might have had some of those things. We'll see if it checks all those boxes. But before we get to our review, we have some news that we want to cover. And I'm excited to share it with you, Al, because it's pretty relevant,
What do you got?
especially relevant to our show from last week. So if you didn't see our last week's episode, it was on the show Parasite. I definitely recommend you give that a watch. But we are not the only ones that like that show, Al. In fact, HBO liked it. They liked it so much that they're partnering with Adam McKay, and they have Mark Ruffalo attached to create this project that's going to be a 5 to 6 episodes based on Bong Joon-ho's original ideas for the movie, but elaborated into a much bigger picture.
Okay.
So
you know what I gave Parasite. You were there last week.
I do.
You don't remake a 10. Like that's just my opinion. I gave Parasite a 10. I mean, I think even if a movie's like a 9 or above, don't touch it. Like don't remake it. I don't know. Maybe even if a movie's an 8.5 or above, like if it's already good enough to stand on its own, I don't really want someone else to adapt it and have it be like this B-rate version of what we got.
Well, they're not remaking 6s and 7s. Like, why would they?
Well, that's true. I think it's completely ass backwards. Like they remade Psycho. Have you ever seen the remake of Psycho where it stars Vince Vaughn and it's basically shot for shot from the original? And it's just like garbage. Like it's the best possible remaking they could have done, and it's not as good as the original, because the original was the quintessential version. Parasite was such a good fucking movie. I still say anybody who hasn't seen that movie, go see it. It's like the
Go see
best
it,
movie
yeah.
available to stream right now, I think. And if HBO wants to, I mean, hopefully Bong Joon-ho gets some money and can make more movies, because I want him to make more stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I'm probably not going to tune in to watch a Parasite-based miniseries.
Yeah, well, I don't think that there's going to be any of lack of people trying to give Bong Joon-ho money to make films, especially after he just won the Oscar. And in fact, I think he's got a couple of movies lined up. I don't know how COVID affects all this, but he's going to be around. He's going to stick around. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, big time.
I know you're a big Marvel guy. You probably love Mark Ruffalo. I hate Mark Ruffalo.
I don't really love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's great as the Hulk, but that's an easy role to play in terms of like the human aspect of it. I mean, he's a talented guy, but I've never seen anything extremely surprising from him. And aside from Robert Downey Jr., I don't think there's a single incredible performance in the Marvel universe that any of those actors can stand on. So I'm not going to give that series a watch just because of Mark Ruffalo. If anything, I'd give the series a watch because it's based on Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Ruffalo's kind of just middle of the line for me.
Okay. Well, sticking with the theme of TV, because we also cover TV on this podcast or YouTube show or whatever this is. So sticking on the theme of TV and also reboots, we have a surprise trailer. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know if you were.
Really?
But we had a surprise trailer coming to us from our folks at NBC for a reboot of one of my favorite shows growing up, Saved by the Bell.
Okay. Thought you were going to say The Office.
No.
Would have shot you if you told me they were remaking The Office.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, dude. Saved by the Bell, though. Have you seen, I don't know who makes it, but there's these YouTube videos all about how Zach is an asshole in that show.
Yeah, I have seen. Zach Morris is trash.
Yeah. It's like a dissertation on how he like sold out his friends and shit.
Yeah, Zach Morris is an asshole.
Is funny. He is an asshole.
That is very funny. Yeah, if you haven't seen Zach Morris's trash, check that out. But I'm actually I'm assuming you haven't seen the trailer. I actually thought it was good. Like the trailer, like it caught my interest. It's an
entirely new cast, right?
So they do have Slater. He's like the gym teacher for the next generation.
Okay.
So
is he actually Slater?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And I'm pretty sure like the kids are all kids of the original cast. So I saw in one of the clips, Slater was like, "Yeah, I banged your mom." I'm like, "Yeah, I banged your mom." And like all this, Slater being Slater, with like Kelly Kapowski's like daughter or son or something like that. So
right.
I'm gonna check it out. Probably won't have crazy high expectations or high expectations at all. I'm just kind of curious. It's going to be on NBC's new streaming service called Peacock, which begs the question:
that service is stealing The Office.
Yeah.
From Netflix.
Yeah.
And I have said before, I don't think NBC's streaming service can stand on The Office alone. And
well, how many of these streaming services do I need, Al? I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, it'd be a good idea. Why don't I package all these together and just pay one flat rate? And before I know it, I'm back on cable.
That's true. But you know what, too? A lot of the cable channels are doing their new TV Everywhere apps. So, for example, if you have a cable package with FX, then you can watch all the movies that FX has the rights to on their own app anytime. You can stream them.
Okay.
So if you have cable, you actually also get a bunch of free streaming channels where you can stream movies and shows that they own that aren't streaming on other services, which is kind of nice. And I think that's where NBC is going to go, is that they're not going to try to suck $13 a month out of your wallet to rewatch The Office, but rather they're going to be doing, I hope, a TV Everywhere thing where people who already have NBC in their package can just watch anytime they want their famous series. And hopefully that Saved by the Bell thing can draw people into that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it, especially since my parents don't really stream that much and they have cable. So I'm trying to steal all these streaming channels from my parents.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I although I have all these streaming platforms, I only pay for like one or two of them. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
true.
Thanks everybody who's
If you aren't splitting up all your streaming services, you are getting played.
yeah.
Well, I think it's about time we talk about War Dogs on that note.
Yes.
Cool. War Dogs was actually recommended to me, was it, by you, Peej? And I appreciate you recommending a movie for us to watch this week. War Dogs was directed by Todd Phillips. It stars Jonah Hill and Miles Teller, with actually several appearances I didn't expect by Bradley Cooper.
Mhm.
Came out in 2016. It is an hour and 54 minutes long, and you can stream it right now on HBO. War Dogs is loosely based on the true story of two young men, David Packhouse and Ephraim Diveroli, who won a $300 million contract from the Pentagon to arm America's allies in Afghanistan. In the movie, we follow David Packhouse, played by Miles Teller, who seems to be down on his luck and stuck in a dead-end job until his life is changed in an instant when he bumps into his childhood friend, Ephraim Diveroli. Ephraim, played by Jonah Hill, is a man of extreme confidence. He holds himself with an I don't give a fuck attitude and doesn't hesitate to break the law for a quick laugh. Ephraim asks David to join him in a venture selling firearms to the U.S. military for war use, and while David's girlfriend is highly against the war, he decides to join Ephraim's firm to make ends meet. However, hiding his new secret occupation becomes increasingly difficult as he and Ephraim find themselves in life-threatening danger during a gun smuggling mission overseas. The two eventually get involved with a dangerous international arms dealer, played by Bradley Cooper, who seems to be extremely dangerous. That is, until their illegal operation falls apart, not at the hands of Cooper, but due to Ephraim Diveroli's uncontrollable ego. That's my long-ass synopsis for this movie, and now
That was a great synopsis.
I gotta hear, because you recommended this to me.
I did.
Like, what are your thoughts on this movie? What would you rate it?
So, I mean, obviously, I recommended this movie, so I am a fan of it. You know that. There's no spoiler needed. But right from the jump, this movie just grabs you. Miles Teller, the way he starts it, the first 5 seconds, he's got a gun in his face, and it does one of those flash forwards where you're like, how are we
True,
going to get there? Then it does this awesome montage about the economics of war. And
Yes, that was
tells
one of my
you-
favorite parts.
Me too. Yeah. So right from the beginning, I feel like is the best, like one of the best parts of the movies, and just hooks you. It draws you in with telling you, oh, it costs $17,500 to arm every United States military serving overseas. You see what's going on, and why this movie needs to get made to shed some light on the situation.
Right. I loved how they looked into the military industrial complex right in the beginning and instantly told you, like, this is what this movie's about.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to dig into how, like, just not corrupt, but just how, like, lopsided this whole thing is and how much money
why
is
this
just
happens.
flowing into the military.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
really
So
did
once
enjoy that.
Exactly. So once they establish why this is happening and what, how there's kind of a vacuum created for them to have this opportunity, it really, explores it well with Miles Teller being like a kind of, even though he's a pretty good looking guy, he's pretty relatable. He's fucking up at the beginning of the movie, even though he has like the hottest girlfriend in the world. Oh man.
Yeah, that girl
I
was an
fell in love
extreme
with
babe.
her.
However, I think she's I don't know if she still is, but she was hooked up with Ben Affleck for a while. So I don't know
Oh,
if you have a
really?
chance.
Okay. Well, I'm no Batman, but neither is he really.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously I like this movie. To be perfectly honest, I didn't like it as much the second time I watched it. So I thought
I
that
can see
maybe this
that.
movie, I thought that it probably lost a little bit as far as being too light and too comedic. It was very light and it was fun, and there was so many funny parts of the movie where you actually laugh out loud.
Right.
Everyone knows Jonah Hill and he's funny. Everyone knows Todd Phillips. He's hilarious.
Right. Obviously a veteran comedy group
Yeah,
working
and
on the movie there. Bradley Cooper too.
exactly, and I couldn't help but wondering, watching the second time, would this movie have benefited by maybe an older casting and maybe like a slightly more serious tone?
Yeah, true. And honestly, like, my first note that I had when reviewing the movie was that it was really funny and fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think you probably get the wrong impression from the intro of the movie that it's going to be this kind of Wolf of Wall Street, like badass story, really deep, but told in a cool guy way.
Yeah.
And it turns out not to be that. It's more of a funny comedy movie, honestly.
Right?
Like the
Yeah.
scene when they're escaping from Fallujah,
Fallujah? Yeah.
that is
That was an
fucking
awesome
hilarious
scene.
when
Yeah.
they're dancing in the side
Marlboro!
of the Jeep and the U.S. military's flipping them off. They're like, fuck
Yeah.
you guys.
Oh man, that was such a cool scene. The first time you watch it, you're like, how are they gonna get out of this? The U.S. military comes. You're just like,
Yeah.
let's go. I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah. He goes, thank God for Dick Cheney's America.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that the movie nailed all the funny and exciting and fun parts. And if
Yeah.
you tell somebody, hey, I recommend War Dogs to you, it's a funny, exciting,
It's fun.
good time summer movie.
Mhm.
That's what it is. And as soon as I started to pick up that, like, hey, this movie's not going to get deep, I enjoyed it a lot. And the Fallujah scene was
Let up a little
exactly
bit.
the perfect time for that.
Yes.
I
Very
had so many
indicative of-
moments where I was laughing out loud, clapping like an idiot, pointing at the screen. Go, go. You know, they were really funny a lot. But the movie, you're right, it did not explore the emotional or like moral dilemmas that specifically David was challenged with. So
Yeah.
the movie kind of
I
said that he
guess.
was
I mean,
challenged with things, but never showed it.
yeah, I hear your point. I didn't really care about that storyline. I like not at all. Like, oh, the fact that his girlfriend's anti-war and he's a drug runner. I don't fucking care. I don't care about that at all.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
more so wanted it just to be just take yourself a little bit more seriously, because with all these jokes and all this comedy, I don't the stakes aren't that high. So
I
if it
never
had
felt like they were in trouble. Not
yeah,
once. Not even during
and
the Fallujah scene.
and if it had some more of those aspects that we talked about at the beginning of the show that we look for in smuggling movies, I feel like it would have been a lot better of a movie. Like that anxiety.
Yeah. And you know, when I was talking about the moral dilemmas, I wasn't necessarily talking about the girlfriend not supporting the war, which I agree. Maybe they had some sort of idea of where that was going to go or how that was going to emotionally hit you, but it didn't. I didn't really give a shit
It's a
about the girlfriend. I understood
it's
he has
trash
something to win
storyline.
and something to lose. That's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
what I really wanted the movie to explore deeply was how David was clearly being manipulated by Ephraim throughout the movie. And he
Yes. Give
started
me
to
some
realize it.
revenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's starting to realizing it later in the movie, especially in the elevator scene. And the scenes that hit me the
Mm-hmm.
hardest in terms of the movie losing points on my review scale, it lost the most points at the very end during the elevator scene. And then following that, the arrest scene, because that was maybe 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And if they could have stretched that out to be 10, 15 minutes, I could have spent a lot of time thinking about how David could have chosen not to participate in this smuggling operation. He could have said no to Ephraim a while ago, but he didn't. And now he has to
Sure.
suffer the consequences. Ephraim is realizing that he's his own worst enemy. These are big moral dilemmas that you can have inside, that if we could just get a good shot of the character's face thinking about it for a while, we can think about it and leave the theater thinking the same way, or leave my fucking
Mm-hmm.
living room feeling
Yeah.
about it. But as soon as this movie ended, I didn't feel anything about anything. I just said that was a funny movie, but I didn't stress about any of these characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that it ends with the main character getting a bunch of money. Like I feel like that does check like a little box in the smuggling things that we look for. You know, the main
Yeah.
character who we liked ended up with a bunch of money, ends up with a hot girl. Great.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah,
All's
I
well
needed
that
a
ends
happy
well.
ending movie. I've been watching too many movies where the main character just gets fucked at the end. Parasite hit me too hard.
It's true. But I mean, Bradley Cooper, great actor. What are you doing in that role? Like I feel like that
Dude,
was such like
Thank you.
I feel like that was such like a, oh, we can get Bradley Cooper. Let's get him. Did you ever stop to think about, should we get Bradley Cooper in this role?
Yeah. Oh, Todd Phillips. You know Brad, right? He
Mhm.
hit up his
Yeah,
cell.
I'm sure. Hey, I just made you $100 million
Yeah.
an air.
Yeah.
Do you mind starring in this movie? I'm trying to get like a little bit more serious cred under my belt.
The scene where
didn't-
Bradley Cooper has the gun on Miles Teller. And I'm glad they didn't show Bradley Cooper in the beginning of the movie, because that would have
Yeah,
thrown
I
me for a
agree.
fucking loop.
I totally agree. I'm very thankful
But at
for
the
that.
end, when he has the gun, he goes, "Do you understand now?" I didn't feel threatened in the slightest. I was like,
Dude,
Bradley, do you even know where you are? Or did you just get a
pretend to be
hangover
Albanian. Yeah. Did you just
You
wake
woke
up
up.
there?
You woke up in Albania as a drug dealer.
Yeah, you just pretend to have an Albanian accent. Like, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
That part didn't work for me, but overall, I still feel like it was fun. Like I said, it ended well with the main character getting a bunch of money and riding off into the sunset. Jonah Hill was a prick, and I'm sure he got fucked.
And hey,
And
casting on the flip side, Jonah Hill crushed it. Jonah Hill can nail like the big douchebag cocky guy role. He did it in Superbad.
I
He
agree.
did it in Wolf of Wall Street, and he just nailed it in this movie. I think he carried the movie on his back.
Yeah, I thought he did really well. And you could definitely tell, this was when he was going out of that Superbad mold. And you could tell, he was trying really hard, and it showed on the screen. I thought he did a good job. What about everyone else? Did they think they did a good job?
Yeah, actually, this is I wanted to bring up the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb reviews before giving my number, because I was shocked at actually how low these ratings are.
Okay.
On
I don't
Rotten
even know what they are.
On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 61 for the critics score 61. And a 68 for the audience score.
Really?
IMDb gave it a 7.1, which IMDb is typically lower
Usually
than Tomatoes.
Lower, yeah.
Tomatoes has more of a democratic system when it comes to the ratings. It makes me wonder, and reading some of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, it makes me wonder if some of these people went in looking for a war crime drama and left the theater having been given a comedy and just thinking, oh, I'm really upset. Like, that wasn't dramatic at all. I didn't get the emotions I was looking for.
That wasn't a smuggling movie.
If you could tell your buddy, hey, this is a comedy about smuggling guns, I think they'll leave the theater thinking, or leave their living room thinking like, oh, that was a funny comedy about smuggling guns. So I think the critics were really duped by the premise of this movie and give it a 61. That's like harsh.
I do think that's harsh.
That's harsh. But
how did it fare on the allometer?
So on my score, I wasn't so harsh about it because I think I picked up that it was a comedy movie pretty early, and I enjoyed the comedy. So I gave the movie, originally I left the movie, I was like, oh, it's not an A, it's more like maybe a B+ movie or something. But the longer I went without the movie, the more I realized I haven't thought about this movie again once since I watched it. The only thing I keep thinking about is Jonah Hill's hilarious laugh in the movie. So, I love the movie. I had a fun time with it, but I don't remember the movie, and it didn't really pull my heartstrings at all. I got to give it a B-. 8.1 is my score.
8.1. Okay. The official allometer. So I don't hate your score. Mine's not going to be too far off. When I recommended this movie, if you asked me what I rated it, it would probably be like high 8s, like maybe 8.7. Upon second watching, like I said, I was a little disappointed in my own memory, my own recollection of what it was. Well, I go back to what I look for, and do I regret watching it? No, I don't. Would I watch it again? Obviously, I did. And will I watch it again after this? Maybe. I don't know. If it's on TV, I might not, click off it right away. I might watch a couple minutes with some friends, maybe. It's not like an automatic no. So maybe. And then would I recommend it to a friend? Yeah, I would. But under those pretenses that you mentioned. So my official Peej scale, I give it an 8.2.
8.1 and 8.2.
So we're pretty on par there.
You know what, though? Here's something surprising about this movie, which I did not expect having Jonah Hill involved. The budget of the movie was $40 million.
Wow.
Pretty realistic for what they put out. The gross in the U.S. was only $43 million at the box office.
Wow.
This movie only made $3 million off a $40 million investment. However, worldwide, it basically doubled itself. It got up to $86 million.
Okay. So success financially.
Makes me wonder, why are people overseas interested in this movie?
Yeah,
if I wasn't American, I would definitely find this movie less entertaining than I do. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, it obviously got enough to make 40 more million outside of the States.
A ton of people in Albania love this movie.
Big Albanian and Iraqi market.
Yeah, they just really latch on to Bradley Cooper's accent.
That's true.
All right, so that's what it grossed. That was the worldwide, so it pretty much doubled itself. Okay,
Not our most successful movie we've rated. Actually, probably one
definitely
of the
not.
least successful that we've rated in terms of multiplying its budget.
Yeah, and I think even our aggregate score is probably on the lower side, but we have rated some pretty good movies so far.
That's true. Good movie. Probably the worst movie we've watched so far.
Yeah, I think a good movie, forgettable, good, solid. Anyways,
Yeah.
ready to move on?
I think if you were mean, you could convince me that this movie sucked.
I don't know. I don't
I
think I
think you
could.
could.
I
I think
still
you
like
could
it.
turn me.
I still like this movie. So,
That's true. That's true.
okay, moving on. I want to get into our Mount Rushmores. So, for the Mount Rushmores, we have smuggling movies. That is the category. You all right?
Oh, I'm good. I am about to hit you with a world-class Mount Rushmore. I've got the best smuggling movie Mount Rushmore that there is.
I don't think so, especially given your previous Mount Rushmores. I'm
Oh no, this one's
sure.
very different. This one's probably the best Mount Rushmore you've heard on the show so far.
I can't believe that, and I don't. So before we get to Al's lies, I'm going to tell you guys my Mount Rushmore, which is going to be the better Mount Rushmore. Please comment below which one you like better, and also let us know your own Mount Rushmore. Or if there's a movie we missed, let us know. So without further ado, my top 4 favorite smuggling movies of all time. Number 1, classic. Kevin Costner, Sean Connery,
Yes.
The Untouchables.
Yes, The Untouchables.
Yes.
Great
So
choice.
we're mostly talking about smuggling drugs. In this movie they smuggled guns. This movie they're throwing it back to prohibition and smuggling alcohol from the Canadian border over to America. If you have not seen this film, watch it. Sean Connery is a G. Kevin Costner, maybe one of his best performances.
Does
in
this
my
one have De
opinion.
Niro in it too? The Untouchables?
Yeah, he plays Capone. Yep.
He's Capone. That's a great movie. And I got to interrupt your Rushmore to tell you a story. Back when I was in high school, I had a history teacher who used to play a lot of movies, but she had really good taste in movies. So she wouldn't play us just the shitty movies that she can find off the shelf. She would carefully curate the best movies to show us.
Nice.
She showed us the Newsies one time, a Disney movie. Not the best movie of all time, but way better than a lot of the stuff we were watching in high school. And then she hit us with The Untouchables. We had to sign a permission slip because they kill people in the movie.
Oh yeah.
The best scene that got the whole class going was when he shoves the guy off the roof. And there's that terrible primitive green screen effect of him falling.
Yeah.
That is so great. That scene was so awesome, man. I remember the whole history class. Woo!
Such a classic movie. Shout out to history teachers that are too hungover to do their lesson and they're like, let's throw on Apollo 13. Shout out to you guys. So we got Untouchables in my number 1 spot. Number 2, this is, if not in my top 5 favorite personal movies. I'm not saying the best movie, but for me personally, I love this movie. It might not be in my top 5, but it's certainly an honorable mention. Blow with Johnny Depp. Probably, I'm going to say definitely my favorite Johnny Depp movie. I love this movie. Moving forward, though, my number 3, Traffic. Another movie I watched a ton when I was a kid and still holds up. And for my last movie, a little bit different, I'm going with Argo. You're not smuggling drugs. You're not smuggling alcohol. You're smuggling people out of Tehran. So great movie. Ben Affleck did a great job in that directing and acting. I was pleasantly surprised. I think that won Best Picture. Yeah, it did.
I like your list. However, I got to hit you with a hot take before we move on to my list. And I told you I had a hot take last week when you said we were doing smuggling movies. Okay. Here's my smuggling movie hot take. And I apologize for anybody this offends. I didn't really dig Blow. I just couldn't. Maybe it was the day I watched it, I wasn't feeling it or something. I don't know, man. It just kind of went on, and the story didn't get too crazy for me.
Ugh.
I might be alone in this.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I've never been more disappointed. I need to find a new podcast partner. This is just.
I knew I'd disappoint you with that one, but I just had to get it on the table.
Ugh.
And
Yeah,
the
it hurts me
intro
in
of this
so many
episode
places.
was Blow.
Yeah, what the hell?
So I respect it as a legendary movie. I just didn't personally vibe with it as much as
And
other people, I
he's
guess.
from Weymouth. He's like 2 towns over from my hometown. So
That's
it's
true,
like,
but Johnny Depp did the Whitey Bulger movie too,
which was so
Black
much
Mass.
worse. It was
That movie
awful.
was way worse. I didn't like that
That
movie at
movie
all.
was so bad that I watched it twice because I forgot that I watched it the first time. That's
I
how
was
bad
bored
that
as hell
movie
throughout that
was.
movie. Yeah. So I'll hit you with a good Mount Rushmore here, though. I hope my Mount Rushmore surprises you and makes you proud of me, even though I didn't really like Blow.
We'll
Here we
see.
go. My Mount Rushmore, first movie on my Rushmore of smuggling movies is Catch Me If You Can. Leo DiCaprio versus
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Versus Tom Hanks, escaping internationally, smuggling money into every different country he goes into. That movie is a fun time, and I would recommend it to anybody. It's currently
Really fun movie.
Currently streaming on Sundance Now,
Ooh,
which I didn't know Sundance had their own streaming service, but it's only like $5 a month.
that's
I
pretty good.
actually might look into it.
Yeah, hit us up, Sundance. We'll sponsor you.
My next movie, smuggling movie. Smuggling is only a small part of this movie, but the whole movie's about crime. Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio again at the number 2 spot. You can't deny Wolf of Wall Street was a great movie.
I won't. Kind of a stretch for smuggling, but continue.
It's a fun time. They smuggle a lot. They smuggle on planes. They've got the scene where all the ladies are strapping money to them. They get on the boat to smuggle across the Mediterranean.
Okay.
The whole movie is about him trying now to get caught smuggling, and you can get caught watching this movie on FX Now if you have a TV Everywhere subscription. So if you have FX on your cable subscription, or if your parents do, go log in on FX's website. You can watch Wolf of Wall Street anytime. My number 3 movie is another human smuggling movie. I like the idea of human smuggling, high stakes, high action, and high violence in this human smuggling movie. My number 3 is Taken, starring Liam Neeson. Dun, 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 dun. That movie was a great time. Not a good movie, but you didn't show up to watch Taken to see a good movie. You showed up to watch Taken to see Liam Neeson kick some ass, and he fucking does it. And that phone call scene in the beginning is iconic.
Of course.
My 4th smuggling movie, one of the greatest smuggling movies of all time, Snakes on a Plane. They smuggle a whole bunch of snakes on a plane. Snakes on a Plane gave birth to an entire industry of terrible, shitty, low-budget movies that make back millions. Without Snakes on a Plane, there would be no Piranha 3D. There would be no Sharknado. Snakes on a Plane is a pioneer of the industry. It's my number 4 on my spot. And you can't stream it right now because you got to give them your money to watch that movie. They will do anything to get a buck in that fucking film studio that makes all those movies.
All right, Al, you've completely redeemed yourself, even though you don't like one of the best movies ever made, Blow. That was a really good Mount Rushmore.
I appreciate you.
You can stream Wolf of Wall Street for free on Hulu, not HBO or not Netflix. Sorry about that. Also just want to let you know, guys, about my Mount Rushmore. You can watch The Untouchables on Hulu as well. Mm-hmm. You can watch Blow on Netflix. You can also watch Traffic on Hulu as well.
Oh, no kidding. That's a bunch of movies to watch this week.
Dude, Hulu is stacked. Everything I'm like, wow, it's on Hulu.
You know what's crazy?
And they have live sports.
When Netflix was going to lose The Office, I said to myself, Netflix is fucked, but they might still be the best streaming service out there, even without The Office. And now Hulu is really starting to steal that shine. Like
they're giving them a run for their money.
The more I get into my movie list, the more I see how many movies Hulu has. They are rocking. Them and HBO have the best movie selection.
I do want to give a couple honorable mentions before we move on. A couple ones that I thought were fun, but I wasn't sure if they would qualify. We Are the Millers, I thought was a really underrated movie.
I stayed away. I was too afraid to watch that.
It looks so bad. It looks so bad. It's not. It's actually pretty good. I thought it was pretty funny. It wasn't good enough to make my Mount Rushmore, but I thought it was very good and worth mentioning. Also, I would have loved to include a Star Wars movie like Solo, because
Rogue One is a smuggler. Movie.
Yeah, but again, I just didn't like. My Mount Rushmore is personal. And
Yeah.
you know,
We want
Solo
the best
didn't do it.
essential movies.
Rogue One didn't do it for me. Even in like a really great movie like American Gangster, that is undoubtedly a great movie. It's 40 minutes too long.
Dude,
There's
I'm 100% on
problems
board with
with
you.
it. There's problems with it,
American
and
Gangster, I was trying to stay awake the whole time.
yeah, they really just needed to scrap Russell Crowe's like, I don't care about your divorce, dude. Like,
Yeah, it was
I
a
care
movie that
about
suffered
Denzel
from too many
Washington.
storylines.
Yeah, I agree. Also, just real quick, American Made, I thought was pretty
American
good
Made.
with Tom Cruise. Cannabis Kid, not too bad.
How
Blood
many honorable
Diamond,
mentions do you have?
a lot. That's it though.
Well, I gotta say, the Untouchables was my number one honorable mention. And
Okay.
it actually only was removed from my list to make room for Snakes on a Plane. So I love that you included it. And my other honorable mention
I
this
couldn't
week,
leave it off.
my other honorable mention this week on Netflix, the reason that I didn't include this in my list is because I didn't fucking watch it yet, is Dallas Buyers Club. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen it.
Recommend or not recommend?
I do recommend. Yes.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. I have
It's
had that on my
it's a
list for months.
B plus aim on this movie, so you're in for a treat.
Great.
Well, I do want to move on because I know we have a segment coming up that you're going to fail miserably at.
Oh, I believe it is you who is going to fail today, sir. That's right, folks. It is time again for trivia. This week's trivia, we're going to keep playing our game that we've enjoyed so much for the last couple weeks, Two Truths and a Lie. I'm going to give 3 fun trivia facts about this week's movie, War Dogs. And Peej, who is a War Dogs fan, is going to try to tell me which one of those is false and which 2 of those are true. Are you ready, Peej?
Beats, Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Which bear is best? All right, here come your 3 facts. Fact number 1, the beach sunset painting on the wall in Ephraim's office was the same one that Frank Lopez had on his wall in Scarface.
Okay.
Trivia number 2, Todd Phillips, Jonah Hill, and the real Ephraim DiVeroli all share the same birthday. Trivia
Okay.
fact number 3, the real David Packhouse refused to meet with Miles Teller before the film, claiming that the movie had actually stolen his story from the book, Once a Gunrunner.
Okay.
What do you think? Which one is false?
I'm going to need you to repeat those, please.
Oh my.
If you don't mind.
I'm going to need a beer.
Perfect.
Here we go. Trivia fact number 1, the beach sunset painting on the wall in Ephraim's office was the same one Frank Lopez had in Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
Trivia fact number 2, Todd Phillips, Jonah Hill, and the real Ephraim DiVeroli all share the same birthday. Trivia fact number 3, the real David Packhouse refused to meet with Miles Teller before the film, claiming that the movie had actually stolen his story from the book, Once a Gunrunner.
Okay. So, I don't know, first of all. But I know that the last time you played this game, you tried to trick me. And I know that there was Scarface references dripping all over this movie. You know, there's the big photo of Al Pacino in the office originally. So I wouldn't be surprised if you try to trip me up with something like that again.
Oh,
So
I
I'm going
wouldn't
with
be too
that
surprised either, folks.
being false. You made that up.
You couldn't have made yourself look like more of an idiot in front of all 12 of our subscribers.
14.
Oh my
We've got
God.
14 subscribers.
How could you mess this up? The beach painting on the wall at Ephraim's office was the same one that Frank Lopez had in Scarface. There is a bunch of Scarface references in the movie, right? He's got Al Pacino on the wall. There's actually a bunch of shots that are similar to shots in Scarface. And I watched Scarface a few days after watching War Dogs, and I kept pointing out little ones. Oh, look, I remember
Really?
they referenced that in War Dogs.
Interesting.
Which Scarface had actually a lot of smuggling negotiation. It didn't have any smuggling on screen, but if they did have even a second of smuggling on screen, that would have been like my number 1 on my Rushmore.
Oh, not me.
Number 2, Todd Phillips, Jonah Hill, and the real Ephraim DiVeroli all share the same birthday. Yeah, they were all born on December 20th.
Yeah, that'd be a weird thing to make up. Like, if you did make that up, I would have been impressed.
Yeah, you would have been like, that's the stupidest made up fact I've ever heard in my life. Actually, did you, I forget how many people it is, but I think it's like, if you have more than 7 or 9 people in a room together, it is more than likely that 2 people share a birthday.
No.
Just the way the numbers work is amazing. I'll put a screenshot of an article or something. I promise you this
No.
is a real fact.
This is fake news.
All right. The third one was false, and I did a little bit of trickery again. The
Okay.
real David Packhouse did meet with Miles Teller before the movie. In fact, the real David Packhouse from real life was the guy who sang Don't Fear the Reaper in the nursing home in the beginning of the movie. The nursing home singer.
Oh,
who
the
just
one
kind
where
of
he's like,
became-
"That's my nephew."
Yeah, that guy
Yeah.
is actually David Packhouse. He was cool with the movie. It was actually Ephraim Diveroli, who's portrayed as a giant asshole, who turned out was kind of a giant asshole and said that he didn't want them to make the movie. He thought they were stealing from their book, from his book, Once a Gun Runner. And Jonah Hill actually said, because he's done The Wolf of Wall Street, he
Yeah.
goes, I'm used to it. If a person is aggressively against me playing them, it's probably a good sign. So
Yeah.
Jonah Hill is totally cool with it. I love it.
I guess that makes sense.
Also, extra fact that I figured you would probably know to be true when I said it out loud, but Jonah Hill actually intentionally gained 44 pounds for this role. Did you see how
I
big he
don't
was?
believe that. I did see how big he was,
I
but
knew
I
he
don't
went through a
believe
lot
that.
of weight. I knew he went through a lot of weight loss after, but I didn't know that like he purposely wanted to be big for the role. He wanted to be like, he wanted to appear as an unlikable asshole.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that.
Maybe he just
There's a guy that's struggled with his weight for a while. Like,
maybe he just was overeating and really not giving a shit.
and he's
for all
like,
the
"Yo,
weeks-
it's like, yo, IMDb trivia. Can you please slip
Yeah.
this little fact in there? Because I told my girl that, I got to eat these cheesesteaks."
Fact submitted by Hona Jill.
Well, thanks for that trivia, Al.
It's
You
been
were
fun.
able to get me this week, but next time I'm coming for you.
May the odds be ever in my favor.
No. But anyways, we do have some stuff that we want to give you guys to watch over the weekend.
That's
Stuff
right.
that we have seen before that we know is good, and stuff that we're watching for the first time that we're going to watch with you. So I'll go first. I'll give you guys something that's in my watch history that I've seen before. I know it's good, and that's why I'm going to tell it to you guys. It's a TV show. It is Bloodline, season 1. Very good show. Notice how I'm not recommending season 2. Just season 1. I thought it ended really well. It was
Cool.
nice. It finished. It was crisp. It was clean. You don't really need season 2.
I felt the same way about Narcos.
Yeah. Some of these shows, they make money. They're like, oh, wow, it was successful. Let's do it again. No, you did it. It was great.
Yeah.
Do something else.
Season 2 doesn't have to be an afterthought.
No, it doesn't. So watch season 1. I thought it was really good. Something that I've seen before, or that I have not seen before, that is in my queue that I'm going to watch for the first time, is on Hulu. Speaking of Dick Cheney's America, I'm going to watch Vice, which is a biopic about Dick Cheney starring Christian Bale. It's on Hulu. I'm greatly looking forward to it. Christian Bale is pretty much unrecognizable as Dick Cheney.
As he is a lot in his roles.
Yeah, totally transformative, of course. Hashtag machinist. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Haven't seen it yet. And yeah, that's what I got.
I've heard that movie was good from somebody who I don't trust at all to give me movie reviews. So I don't know if I believe them, but if it turns out to be good, I'll go ahead and give them a thumbs up.
I mean, I'll pretty much watch anything with Christian Bale in it because I feel like he takes it pretty seriously. So it's worth watching. Even if it's not good, I'll tell you guys next week.
Yeah, you know what? Christian Bale's one of those people, and Jonah Hill is quickly becoming one of those people for me. Any movie he's in seems to be pretty good. Leo DiCaprio, they're in this class of guys where you can watch any movie of theirs and it's always ends up being at least above average.
2 guys like that for me that maybe not so obvious: Jake Gyllenhaal and Shia LaBeouf.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, I like those 2 guys. I think Gyllenhaal has just had this like quietly incredible career.
I agree.
Like silently putting out masterpieces all the time. Did you see Nightcrawler?
I did see Nightcrawler.
That was a
Yeah,
good
and
one.
I thought it was masterfully creepy.
Yes. Yeah, it was great.
A very uncomfortable movie. That was great.
So I've got one for you. Actually, it's funny you say Gyllenhaal is a guy that you'll watch any movie he's in because he's actually in the newest Spider-Man movie, and you say you don't like Marvel movies.
I don't like Marvel movies. I don't like comic book superhero bullshit.
I'm willing to bet you wouldn't like the new Spider-Man movie, even though Gyllenhaal's in it. But here's another thing I'm willing to bet. I bet that if you do a drunk review for me of one of the highest quality Marvel movies that I want to recommend right now for my recommendation of the day, I think you might like it. You just have to get really drunk. The movie is Captain America: The Winter Soldier, obviously available to stream on Disney Plus because they own all the Marvel movies. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a bomb movie. I think it's actually the most well-written of all the Marvel movies there are. Okay. Which is, I think, what you'll like.
Okay. So Al and I talked about this earlier. We've been setting this up for a little bit now. It's one of our new segment. It's called Drunken Review. We all know that, I'm not the biggest Marvel comic book superhero fan in the world. Al's got that covered. He's a huge nerd. But he's always giving me shit for it. So I've decided I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give Marvel a chance. Say, give me what you got. I didn't know what he was going to select. He said, what is it? Winter Soldier? Captain
America, the Winter Soldier.
Okay. So I'm going to watch Captain America, Winter Soldier. I'm also going to get super wasted. And at the end of my viewing, I'm going to give you guys a drunken review / synopsis.
I'm anticipating good things.
Well, we'll see. So I'll check it out and let you guys know. That's what you recommend. What's in your queue?
My queue this week, and this is actually going to be both of our movie because we're going to watch and review for you next week, and we hope you watch it with us as well. This movie is going to be The Lighthouse.
Yes.
Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, black and white.
No
Lighthouse. No color. No other locations. No clue what the movie's about.
I don't
know what it's about. I missed it.
Yeah, so we'll tell you guys what the movie was about next week.
Yeah. We're going to figure out what that movie's about, and then next week we will tell you. And if you watch the movie, then you can tune in and find out if we got it right.
Okay, so you guys have some homework over the weekend just like us. We want you guys to watch The Lighthouse. Al, where can they find it?
You can find The Lighthouse streaming on Amazon Prime right now. And if you don't have Amazon Prime, then what the fuck are you doing?
Don't you think that's a little harsh, Al? It's tough times right now.
If you don't have Amazon Prime, you're not getting anything these days.
If you don't have Amazon Prime, just give me a call. I'll hook you up. We're probably friends if you're watching this.
Wait, Peej. You hear that?
FBI, open up!
Oh my God! Oh, Jesus, it's the feds!
Grab the money!
Grab the hookers!
Grab the guns!
Grab the drugs! My God!